and welcome back to North East Nostalgic. Today we're on a rather soggy High Street West, heading up to where the old High Street baths were. I can't believe it's May and it's still absolutely super cold. Shops began to move west on the High Street through the late 19th century, with High Street West becoming the major shopping street in town. Imagine all the fancy fashion boutiques that would have lined the streets here. There was even a promenade known as the Walk, where Victorian ladies and gentlemen would parade in their finest clothes. The building in front of us has a huge amount of hidden history, starting its life as the doorway for the Sunderland workhouse. The workhouse stood here in Bishopwearmouth from 1827, at the west end of Harley Street close to Gilbridge. It's most commonly remembered for being the High Street baths. Built in 1858 and remodelled in a classic style in 1890, they were the first public baths facility in the northeast of England to be financed under the 1846 Baths and Wash House Act. Many homes didn't have the facilities that we take for granted now, so people could pay a few pence for hot water and use of the mangles. As well as being able to bathe privately, the High Street baths also had swimming pool facilities. Memories of the High Street baths tend to be that the swimming pool was for hardy people, with icy water and a brown chemical foot bath. Apparently there was a strict code of coloured bands within the pool, shouting at you when your time was up. You got 2 warnings and then your clothes would appear over the door, and if you didn't get out, your clothes went in the pool. The reward for getting in the pool was a hot bun for a penny at the pie and pea shop across the road, filled with scraps of meat from posh joints, stuffing and the top dipped in hot gravy. We now turn into Kele Square, which is an open space built in 2015, celebrating Sunderland's maritime and industrial history. The old magistrate courts of 1905 are being restored to our left, with scaffolding covering the beautiful Edwardian stonework. We can see the new City Hall over the road where there's a lot of construction going on. This area is going to see a lot of change in the next few years. Sitting next to the old Sunderland courts is the Canny sculpture, depicting the legacy from the Vaux Brewery that sat where the new City Hall stands today. Artist Ray Lonsdale used cartel steel to create this beautiful life-size piece, showing a Vaux Brewery cart loaded with ale being pulled by the famous dray horses. Vaux Brewery was a major employer on Wearside, with the establishment of their first brewery in 1837. It was on the corner of Matlock Street and Cumberland Street. This is just behind where St Mary's car park is today and where the railway lines run. The history of Vaux is so fascinating, so please let me know if you'd like to see a more in-depth video on the brewery that shaped Sunderland and the people that lived here. All breweries tend to have a famous favourite drink, with the brown ale double Maxim being the equivalent to Sunderland that brown ale is to Newcastle. Did you know that double Maxim was so strong when it was created that it sent customers to sleep on the bar? The ale has its origins in the Boer War, with Ernest Vaux, the son of founder Cuthbert's safe return from the war in 1901. It was celebrated with the invention of the new ale, Maxim Ale. It was named after the Maxim gun, which Machine Gun Commander Ernest commanded over for 80 operations during the Boer War. It was the first portable, fully automatic recoil-operated machine gun, an incredible weapon that helped Britain achieve victory. When Maxim Ale reached the pumps of public houses, Pub landlords were complaining that the new ale was so strong that customers were falling asleep on the bar. It's thought that the strength was around 8%, so no wonder that a pint or two would finish off the typical drinker. The strength was reduced to appease the pubs and allow customers to drink more before they passed out. In 1938, the strength within the ale was increased back to 8% and it was renamed Double Maxim. Who knew that alcohol had such an interesting history? Speaking of alcohol, we now head to where a lot of the people that would have enjoyed themselves too much with Double Maxim would have gone. The old Guildbridge police station. This was the station for Northumbria Police between 1972 and 2015. Built in a striking brutalism style and has the iconic square clock standing outside. Today it's now called the Yard, taking inspiration from the iconic Scotland Yard police station in London, and is now a contemporary office sharing space. We're following the road around to find our next historic gems. Ahead of us is the roundabout at the A183. This leads to the Ship Isis pub, where apparently Victorian serial murderer Mary Ann Cotton hid one of her victims in the underground tunnels under the pub, and also where the Jewish Quay Cemetery used to be. It's crazy how many buildings around us have extraordinary history. In front of us we can see the stage door area of the Sunderland Empire Theatre. Sadly, it's too soggy and early to see theatre starlets coming and going from the doors today. Did you know that here on Garden Place was where one of the biggest mysteries of the Sunderland Empire occurred? Molly Mazzell, a dancer and assistant stage manager at the Empire, vanished in mysterious circumstances in 1949. She left her digs in Eden Street on the 14th of January 1949, telling her landlady that she forgot to post a letter. Molly was seen by one of the Empire dressers, Tom Kershaw, from the area Garden Place, wearing a bright orange jacket and slacks. Molly never returned, and this ensued a huge police investigation with national headlines. Molly's ghost is thought to haunt the Empire Theatre, with her spirit mourning for an older man who broke her heart. The magnificent Edwardian Sunderland Empire Theatre opened in 1907 and has had its fair share of eventful history despite hosting top names like Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy and George Formby. Did you know that Carry On star Sid James died of a heart attack whilst live on stage in 1976? The unfortunate sad events led to rumours of the dressing rooms being haunted. Eccentric architect Benjamin F. Simpson designed the intricate exterior, which has a whole host of creatures on it, including a frog, cat, lizard and a cow. A copper dome tower tops this beautiful building, with 2 clocks so you can always see when it's gin o'clock. We now head up Church Lane, a quaint street that leads up the side of Sunderland Minster to what would have been the Bishopwearmouth Green. This area would have been part of Bishopwearmouth, with Sunderland Minster standing in the heart of this settlement since the early Middle Ages. Tenants of this early medieval village would have been described as quite wealthy, with the village being dominated by the church rectory, which owned 130 acres of land, spanning as far as Chester Road. Behind the Sunderland Minster is one of my favourite places in the city centre, this beautiful garden to commemorate the lost buildings in Bishopwearmouth. Starting as a thriving farming community, Bishopwearmouth dominated this area near the medieval Church of St Michael from the Middle Ages. Chester Road, Durham Road, Stockton Road and High Street all met at the Bishopwearmouth Green, with courtyards, garden plots and a patchwork of fields creating a lovely village life. By the mid-19th century, the expanding borough of Sunderland had taken Bishopwearmouth within itself, chartered in 1835, so the small rural village life was gone, replaced with the formal Victorian houses and later the intricate Sunderland Empire and Dun Cow buildings to the other side. Much of the buildings to the north and east of the Green were demolished by the end of 1973, with the only reminder of the streets Littlegate, Southgate, Fenwick Street and Crow Street being the stones on the rustic walls around this garden. There's a blue plaque just opposite the Bridges car park, telling us about the traditional leisure pursuits that occurred on the village green during the 18th century. Bull baiting was a very popular pastime. Watching a bull being provoked with a dog doesn't sound the best entertainment to me, but I suppose as there was no televisions, phones or TikTok, I can't really judge. Did you know that there was an underground World War II area built here on the Bishopwearmouth Green? Many houses didn't have the space for a shelter in their garden, or even a shelter under their kitchen table, so public shelters like the one here would have been a godsend for people that lived here. We head back down Church Lane back towards town. This little alleyway always reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean, with the maritime themed bay windows, but this area was more recently renovated in the 1960s, so it's younger than it seems. This fire station on High Street West was built in 1907, designed by Sunderland architect W&T.R. Milburn, who built the Sunderland Empire and many of our other historic buildings. Fire engines would have been brought out through the arch windows on the ground floor, going on their missions to dampen fires during World War II air raids, local shop and house fires, as well as to rescue a cat or two. Flame-top torches, gold helmets and fire buckets decorate in between the top windows, giving the most subtle of hints into what the original role of this building was. On the 6th of January 1939, the Sunderland Fire Brigade here were called to a fire at Messrs Lampert's China shop at High Street West. Not even a cup or saucer was broke. A first aid jet and a jet from a hydrant soon put the fires out that had been caused by packing materials. A smashing result, I'd say. Our last historic gem is the Peacock Public House, which is most commonly known for its previous name, the Londonderry. The Peacock had been the original name of the public house which stood here in 1770, but was renamed in 1834 the Londonderry, after a very famous family that weren't very nice. One member of the Londonderry family was Charles Van Temper Stewart, 6th Marquess of Londonderry, whose hobbies included laughing about the Irish famine and having a particular disdain for miners. The public house became the Peacock once more in 2019 to honour its previous history. I hope you liked this little glimpse into the Bishopwearmouth side of Sunderland city centre and the historic gems it possesses. Please give this video a like and a subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I'll see you soon.